Hey Internet, remember when I said the next video would be the top 10 third-party characters I wanted to see in Smash Brothers? Well, I lied. I am still going to do that list, mind you, but since it's one of 3 top 10s that I'll be doing about said game, I figured I'd break up the monotony with a different sort of list. So, what are we going to count down instead? The top 10 aces. Now, before I begin, let me explain what exactly an ace is. Aces usually are not the main character, but more of a supporting role. Aces are very good at almost everything they do, and they're usually not too modest about it either. A lot of aces fit into the rival or anti-hero roles, constantly besting the protagonist in whatever it is that they do, causing them great frustration. There are just 2 ground rules for this list. First off, no real-life examples. History often exaggerates the feats of so-called heroes, and including people that I know on this list just wouldn't be a good idea. So yeah, I'm not doing that. Secondly, only 1 slot per franchise. This means that a few characters from the same franchise can tie, but I can't give the number 5 slot to Wolf and then the number 3 slot to Falco. Those are just examples, by the way. Neither of those guys are going to be on the list. Anyway, let's get to it. Number 10! Buzz Lightyear from Toy Story. In the first Toy Story, Buzz was the hottest toy on the market, meaning that the main kid from the series, Andy, absolutely had to have one. And when he got it, he declared it his favorite toy, leaving the movie's protagonist, Woody, to be jealous. Buzz's acitude extends even outside of the Toy Story movies, as he got a spin-off movie and a TV series, whereas Woody never did, and is just generally more popular than Woody is. Sucks to suck, Woody. Number 9! Death the Kid from Soul Eater. As the son of the DWMA's headmaster, Lord Death, one would expect Kid to get special treatment regardless of if he actually was competent enough to back it up. But he is! He has 2 weapons, whereas most Meisters, people with weapons basically, only have 1, and they're not scythes or swords or whatever like the rest of the kids in the school. They're twin pistols! And they can morph into a giant arm cannon! And hot girls! Kid does have one fatal flaw, though. His obsession with symmetry can make him distracted, but it also leads to more precise maneuvers in battle, so yeah, Death the Kid's still an ace. Number 8! Zero from the Megaman X series. Honestly, I can't tell you too much about this guy since I've only played the first Megaman X, and I didn't actually finish that one either. But what I can tell you is that at the beginning of Mega Man X is a freaking weakling who can't take off a Boba Fett ripoff in a mech suit, and Zero blasts that dude's freaking arm off in 1 hit! Also, apparently Mega Man wasn't good enough to be in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, but Zero was. Seriously, Capcom? Number 7! Squilliam Fancyson III from Spongebob Squarepants. Squilliam has been Squidward's rival since high school, and since then he's succeeded in every area that Squidward has failed. He is far better at music, has way more friends, has a house that is over twice as tall, and he's also quite muscular. What's weird to think about, though, is that Squilliam isn't the only rival that Squidward has. There's also SpongeBob himself, who is always winning Employee of the Month awards and whatnot. Still, Squilliam is far cockier than SpongeBob, and trumps Squidward in a wider variety of ways, so that's why he's on the list. Number 6! This is a weird one, but hear me out. It's Link from The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. I know that I said that the protagonist isn't usually an ace, but there are exceptions, and I think that Link is one of them. But only if you look at the game from Groos's perspective. See, Groos puts on this machismo persona trying to impress Zelda, but always fails due to Link's not being a tryhard genius. So, when Link starts his epic journey to save his blonde-haired beauty, Groose decides to take action and fall to the surface so that he can rescue her himself. But he can't because Link is the chosen one. And to those of you saying, Link can't be an ace, he's not a dick at all. Well, actually, with those dialogue trees, you can make him say some pretty snarky things, so I'm calling him an ace. Number 5! Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. He has a whole song about why he's better than you. Just listen!
A wrestling match, nobody fights like Gaston.
For there's no one as burly and brawny.
As you see, I've got biceps to spare.
Not a bit of him scraggly or scrawny.
That's right. And every last inch of me's covered with hair.
Need I say more? Number 4! Now, we've covered a lot of different forms of media here so far. We've covered movies, anime, games, and Western animation. But did you prepare yourself for a stage show? That's right. Number 4 on this list goes to none other than Marcy Park from the 25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. Like Gaston, Marcy has a whole song about her many achievements. Unlike Gaston, or anyone else on this list for that matter, Marcy doesn't really want to be an ace, but is forced into this role by her parents. She actually doesn't like how she's never able to lose at anything, so she purposely flubs the bee at the end of her song. Good on you, Marcy! Number 3! Captain Hammer from Dr. Horrible's Sing-Along blog. Dr. Horrible really pushes the boundaries of what could be considered a hero or a villain. I mean, the titular character aims for world domination, sure, but outside of his lair, he is very kind to people and works very hard to make it into the evil League of Evil. Captain Hammer, on the other hand, is just a jerk with muscles who somehow manages to win the hearts of all of his fellow citizens, including Penny, Dr. Horrible's main love interest. Captain Hammer is the sort of character that I just love to hate, and I thoroughly enjoyed when he kinda, sorta, almost got his comeuppance in the end. Number 2! Sonic the Hedgehog is one of the most recognized characters in all of gaming. Hell, he's one of the most recognized fictional characters in all of anything, really. Believe it or not, at one point in the 90s, Sonic was recognized by more children than Mario or Mickey Mouse. He's the fastest thing alive, and he can certainly kick Mario's ass, but in-universe, Sonic is pretty lame compared to everyone else. In a lot of older Sonic games, other characters would move just as fast as Sonic, and have their own special abilities. Tails could fly, and in later games he could make robots, but he was never really enough of a dick to be given the Ace title. Fighting Freak Knuckles, on the other hand, can climb on walls, dig through the ground, and spit some fat rhymes, all while rocking those red dreadlocks, and yeah, he's kind of a dick. Hell, even Amy outclasses Sonic with her giant hulking hammer. And then, of course, there's Shadow, who is the most douchey of the bunch, and has all those, weird chaos powers. Oh, and Silver. He's got telekinesis, which makes boss battles against him really unfair. Really, the only Sonic characters that I can think of that don't outclass Sonic are Chip, Dr. Robotnik, and Big the Cat, and that's pretty sad. Still, none of the characters that I've mentioned so far even compare to Cream the Rabbit. In Sonic Advance 2, you just have to press the B button to send her Chow Buddy flying at enemies, and they die instantly. She's not the sort of character you'd expect to be an ace, but Jigglypuff was top tier in Melee, so anything's possible. Speaking of Pokemon, number 1. You hear that theme? Oh yeah, you knew that this dude would be on the list. Some call him Blue, some call him Green, but I personally like to call him Gary. In the games, Gary was always super cocky, treating every loss like a victory and every victory like it wasn't even a challenge. When you finally beat the Elite Four, Lance is all like, well, you wanna be done with all this boss rush nonsense, but there was another kid who beat all of us before, and it turns out to be Gary. And even if you win, all that happens is that your victory is registered in a computer. Every time you go back up to Indigo Plateau, Gary's still champion, even after beating him 500 times! Anime Gary is even more of an ace, though. He somehow got 10 badges, even though there are only 8 gyms in the Kanto region. And look at this clip from the first episode.
Gary, he's a man. He can't do it. No one can. Gary,
Oh, sorry. Excuse me. Hey, watch where you're going. Well, you must be Ash. Better late than never, I guess. At least you get the chance to meet me.
Gary?
Mr. Gary to you, show some respect. Well, Ash, you snooze, you lose, and you're way behind right from the start. I've got a Pokemon, and you don't.
You got your first Pokemon?
That's right, loser, and it's right inside this Pokeball.
Let's go, Gary. Let's go. Yeah.
Thank you, fans. Thank you all for this great honor. I promise you that I will become a Pokemon master and make the town of Pallet known all around the world.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
I was just wondering if you could tell me what kind of Pokemon you got.
None of your business. If you showed up on time, you would have seen that I got the best Pokemon from Professor Oak. It's good to have a grandfather in the Pokemon business, isn't it? Thank you for coming out to see history in the making. Now I, Gary Oak, am off to learn the ways of the Pokemon trainer.
I'll show you.
Are those grown women cheering him on? Does he have a chauffeur? He's freaking 10 years old! Being a child actor or musician is one thing, but what did Gary do? It's not like anyone knows how good of a trainer he is. He just got his first Pokemon. Sure, he's Professor Oak's grandson, but Professor Oak doesn't have a bunch of cheerleaders or a chauffeur. Why does Gary? It takes Ash a total of 270 episodes just to beat Gary in a battle. And what does he do after he loses? He decides to stop participating in gym battles and become a Pokemon researcher, an area where he already has a head start because his grandfather is the freaking greatest Pokemon professor in history! Okay, I got my rage out. I'm done. What do you think? Agree? Disagree? Since this video is about aces, you can rate it a 1 out of a 10 or an 11 out of 10, but you gotta explain why. Anyway, in the words of the #1 ace himself, smell you later.